Yo, and welcome back. Today we are doing an update on our VL Commodore. So in the last episode, you might have seen us getting the car running and started. We did a little victory skid in the backyard. That was super fun, and we have actually had it on hold for a little bit, but we've also been doing a lot of work since the end of, I think it was October last year when Ricky started.
Oh my god.
With us. We've actually started working on the body of the car. So initially I was thinking to give the car a very quick respray, just pretty much scuff down the paint that it has and just give it a lick of paint to get it all one color because it had peeling clear and everything. The car looked pretty straight. And I was like, yeah, it's not gonna need too much work. But one of my mates suggested, you know, with the price of and the way VLs are going at the moment, it's gonna be worth bare metal respray, and which a lot of you guys might not know takes a whole lot more work to do that. So we've decided and started already doing a full bare metal respray on our VL. And here's some clips. So initially we started sanding the car back and we realized that the car has been painted multiple times. So it looks like in some spots we're getting 3 layers of paint. So factory primer, original paint, primer again, paint again, primer again, paint again. And some of you may know or may not know that the more layers of paint you have, or the thicker that the medium is on the car, the higher chances you have of it cracking or breaking off. So ultimately you want to have minimal paint and primer on the car. That way it'll keep the paint better for longer. So when it's building up all these different layers, it's prone to cracking more, as I've already. Once we started digging into it with the sandpaper and the sanders, we realized that, hey, this has got a lot of paint on it and I want it to be good. Taking forever with the sanders, so we decided to get some paint stripper. We just got some concept paint stripper, which actually works really well. So you just apply that and let it sit on the paint for 10 minutes and it'll just start bubbling the paint up. Then you grab the scrapers and you just start scraping away. And with the 3 layers of paint, we had to apply the paint stripper multiple times. So in some areas we put the paint stripper on 3 times and still we were not fully going with the paint. The factory primer that is on the very lowest part of the paint, so pretty much on the metal, is so hardy and wouldn't come off. And I had a few panel beaters and people say to me that it's okay to kind of leave that on there in some spots. So we got it down as much as we could with the paint stripper, and then we started hitting it with the DA pads to get it down. We've done a few body repairs as well. So there's a few spots on the car that have a few dents. Guard for the front passenger side, a new second-hand guard which needs a bit of work as well. That actually had multiple layers of paint on it as well. So a lot more work than you think when you're doing a bare metal respray. If you're just going to do a quick scuff back end of paint, the quality is not going to be there, but you get it done quicker. So yeah, when doing a car, you really got to think like, what quality of a job do you want and how long do you want it to last for? It can either devalue a car pretty quick or just make it look good for a short amount of time. And you know, with these cars becoming more rare, and I think it'll just be a better job to preserve it and do it properly, even though it takes 5 times the amount of effort. So for our dent repairs, we're just scuffing up the dents, trying to knock them out as much as we can to use minimal amount of filler. And then we're sanding it back to get the body panel straight using blocks, making sure we sand in a cross-hatch motion. We have then applied etch primer to the base. So whenever you're painting over bare metal, you need to seal it with an epoxy or an etch primer. And then on top of that, you go a high fill primer that'll fill in any pinholes or cracks or anything like that and give you the smoothest finish when you then sand down the primer with 800 grit sandpaper after applying a guide coat, and you'll be able to see how smooth the car really is when you get to that stage. So So ultimately, if you want the best paint job, it all comes down to how well you prep it. Painting it, yes, that's super important, the process you do and the paints you use and the way you do it, but not as anywhere near as important as prepping and how much time and effort and quality you put into the prep job. So we're going to paint the car in the original Venetian red. So we've gone down to Paint Away in Sunshine, Victoria, and mixed up the original color, as you can see here. We also bought in bulk sandpaper, 800 and 2000 grit sandpaper. We've bought a mask, we've bought a high fill kit, an etch primer kit. We bought a new spray gun for our primer, and we also got another gun for painting it. So our plan is to actually paint it ourselves in the backyard. A lot of people are saying not to do that, but I really want to do it to show you guys that yes, it can be done if you're on a budget. I've done it before on one of my old Mazda 323 restorations, which happened before I started this channel. I'll put in a little bit of a clip here of what that came out like. So very much the same method I used on that car, full bare metal by hand, got rid of all the dents by using filler and knocking the dents out. And then I actually bought a 6x3 marquee, set it up in my parents' shed, set up a couple of fans, wet the floors before I painted, and to minimize overspray, because that's one thing that a spray booth does really well at, is getting rid of overspray. And because if overspray lands on your paint, that actually makes it look crap. So yeah, if you want to get a proper paint job done on your car, bare metal respray, you're probably looking at a minimum 20 grand, I'm guessing, depending on how much work your car needs. The VL I've got is surprisingly very straight. Yeah, so here's what the car's looking like now. Nearly all of it has been bare metaled. That rust that you saw before, we've been spending a fair bit of time re-welding and fixing up that. So we had a hole down here. It's not completely finished yet. We still need to use a little bit of filler just to neaten it up. So this whole section here has been replaced, welded in using the original sheet metal from the spare guard that was damaged. So all new sections up in here. So this was completely cut out and re-welded in. We're actually going to redo a lot of the etch primer in epoxy primer. That was just to keep it like that while we're working on it. We've gone around and circled on the car where the dents need to be checked, gone over. So we did have a bit of rust in this rear sill here. So this looks like rust, but it's not. It's just where the it had a bit of surface rust, and we've used rust converter to treat it. And as you can see, this section here has all been replaced, so we've fabricated a piece to go into there. And then this side here has had a bit of filler on it just to make it smooth again. Did we have a hole on this side as well?
Was it in the middle? Somewhere here.
Yeah, so we had another hole here, which we'll show, which has been properly cut out and replaced. I'll show you these are the rusty pieces that come out of the car. So yeah, obviously little sections that have been chopped out, quite bad, and there's quite a lot of them. So that was that back of the boot piece there, parts of the sill, and we've used the original guard, as you can see there. So it's all original Holden metal from 1987. Here's our products that we got from Paint Away in Sunshine. So we've got our color here, our Lesnol base coat. This is our clear coat, so we're going with the Bingle 2K clear coat. So this is the same stuff I used on that 323 you just saw before. You need the multi thinner to go with it. This is the hardener for it, so 2 bottles of that. We've also got the Bingle high fill kit, like the 4 litres, so that's going to go on as well. So that gives us a bit of medium to sand with to get the car looking perfectly smooth, and some hardener. There we've got some epoxy primer, 4 litres of wax and grease remover. And what's this? Oh, that's the hardener for the epoxy primer. So after we paint the car and stuff, we're going to have to 2000 grit sand it. So there's our sandpaper. We've also got 800 grit as well, which is somewhere else. So we've bought it in bulk. There's 50 sheets in that. Saves us going back and forward to the supermarket, not supermarket, to Autobahn or whatever a million times. Buffing pads, yeah. So I'll show you guys the front. So as I said before, we got a new guard, new second-hand guard here, which does need a bit of work. So as you can see there, we've circled where all the repairs will need to be. So just running the finger along it, just running the hand along it to find the dents. The front windscreen also had some small holes along it, which have been all welded up, and Ricky's just done a little bit of fiberglassing to get it smooth. Other than that, the rest of the screen is looking pretty good. So we're fixing this properly to last another 30 years. Bonnet is in high fill, that's why it's a different color. But yeah, she's looking good. So in the next episode, we're gonna be putting some high fill on this, fixing those dent repairs, and then we're gonna be guide coating and blocking back the whole car, ready to paint this thing and give it some color. Stay tuned also for a video coming out on the FG and the final power figure on that. What a story that's been. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.